Supreme debate both inside the Supreme Court building and outside it, involving those on either side of the abortion issue. As DC Bureau reporter Sophia Boulevard tells us, yesterday was the start of an oral argument in a case that could deem the so-called abortion pill unsafe and ban it across the country.
Many people from several different organizations are right behind me in front of the Supreme Court protesting against the ban of mifepristone, or the abortion pill. Protesters were up bright and early Tuesday morning, blocking off the street in front of the Supreme Court and having several speakers and protesters share their thoughts and concern on the potential ban of one of the most common regimen of abortion offered in the U.S.
Abortion is a human right, and ultimately every person should be able to decide for themselves whether or not to continue a pregnancy. It shouldn't be the job of the government to force people to be pregnant.
Pro-lifers made their way into the crowd to show their support for the ban despite being heavily outnumbered by those against the ban of the pill. One pro-lifer who identified as a Democrat was hopeful that this case could progress into the end of all abortion.
I was actually very grateful to be outside the Supreme Court 2 years ago when Dobbs came down. It was a joyous moment. I think that's a great forecast for how this ruling will come, and I believe in the Supreme Court.
Those who are for the ban are claiming the pill is unsafe for women, but the Gunmaker Institute research states otherwise.
So if they were to limit access today, that would mean that people who live in the 14 states that are banning abortion or the other states who are restricting abortion would lose access, and that really disproportionately impacts folks who face systemic racism and economic inequality.
A number of disputes broke out throughout the protests, and early on into the mobilization, the Women's March Executive Director Rachel Carmona and Creative Director Kim Parker Russell were arrested for unlawful protesting, but the details are still vague.
There's a lot of resiliency and people coming together to show that we will continue to fight for abortion. So we'll be out here as long as we need to be, and we will come back when we need to come back.
The Women's March has been prominently leading this protest, but there have been some pro-lifers in the crowd and pro-life organizations. Reporting for Caplin News from Washington, D.C., I'm Sophia Bolivar.